And they told me it was live, so I don't know, but just in case it really went live, guys, you just know it's. Well, I tried to do the timer, and that has delayed it, so I thought, you know what, I'm here 5 minutes. I don't know if you want those to share. Hi, sir, how are you?
Good. Thank you.
He ended up sending, he says that amount, that 6,000 and whatever it is the max. Because I sent him a message and I said, hey, sorry to provide. Hey, Jeff, I should have bought a card for you. And so I told him, I said, I'm glad you told me that it was here because I called Marcia and she didn't realize it was in that. Yeah. Right. Well, right. And I knew that you had told me that. And I told him, I said, she told me she had that part, but she told me you were emailing me. And so, anyway, I said, so 3,000, that would be, and he said, 6,009 or whatever that is the max. But I still say, okay, let's just be, or we'll make it.
I was gonna say, I don't.
No, but the maximum, we'll just say, knowing that
You completed
where's that other one? No, but where's the other one? It's not on this one.
Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah, it is right here.
Where? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going, I know I saw it.
No, you're.
So Sunny does it.
Got
You're going to do
it. That's right, yes.
Here's the roofing cost. This should be, but totally live. Just saying. So this is the yes, really good. This is the well, I would say this is what he's charging.
You might not put this young lady first.
Okay.
I agree. He's a good judge of character.
You know, just if this would be complete, that's the worst case scenario. Okay. You can, I didn't think, or should I something to me? I think I. I know. No, I didn't know that. Okay, and Brad's running late, so we're gonna go ahead and. Okay. I'm gonna use my phone tonight. I'm gonna go ahead because it's already, I'm sure.
Hey, John, is it the state's required are they required to keep the, like Maple Street and
The new highway.
are they required to keep those cleaned out?
The what?
Keep those clean, snow and whatever else?
No, that'll be on the county of the town.
Absolutely.
For the reason everybody's stripped down for here.
It used to
Will they pay for, again, county to put our mailbox back up?
be, I doubt it.
Okay.
Yeah, they finally knocked their mailbox off.
I've seen that.
Are they gonna pay to straighten the road out?
I doubt it. That's only if there's money available.
Some of the people,
What is it?
Oh, no, they crashed down there, I saw it. Hopefully we.
Just all in favor, say aye.
Okay,
Just keep things for.
let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you can stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the rules for speaking. Any resident wishing to address the council must go to the microphone, address the chair, state your name. We have asked you to sign in so that we have addresses, and obtain recognition from the presiding officer. Any person recognized by the presiding officer may speak, however, there's no guarantee you will be recognized. Non-residents who have a particular interest or information to share on a specific issue can also speak with consent of the town council. No person shall speak twice on the same issue except by majority consent of the council. However, any resident who has not spoken on the issue may ask for the floor, and he or she shall be the first to respond, or to proceed, Debate shall be limited to 2 minutes for each speaker. Total time for debate on any question shall not exceed 10 minutes. No extension of time shall be allowed a speaker to debate a question except by unanimous consent of the council. Once a matter has been the subject of a public hearing, residents will not be allowed to address the council on the matter at a subsequent council meeting. Residents may contact their council representative to make inquiries for information. Contact information for each of us is available at the town hall. As a matter of courtesy to those around you, cell phones must be on vibrate or silent. If a call must be answered, the call must be taken outside of the meeting room. Sidebars or other distracting behavior will not be permitted. Any individual participating in distracting behavior will be asked to leave the meeting room so as not to disturb others. Total time for open mic session is 20 minutes. And Barry.
Taking the attendance, Council President Cindy Ledoux,
Here.
Council Vice President Todd Fry,
Present.
Councilperson Samuel Vine. Here. Councilperson Sonny Taylor Jordan.
Here.
Councilperson Michael Tice.
Here.
Mr. Quorum.
Okay, the approval of the previous meeting minutes for October 13th.
I make a motion to approve the meetings for October 13th, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Okay, approval of the financial statement for 10/31/25.
I make a motion that we approve the financial statement for 10/31/2025.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Actually, I think, Sonny, is that the one that we wondered? Would these be on the financial statements, or are we talking about the APs that we looked at? The APs? Okay, I just want to make sure that I have the right lines. On the line item where we paid Jeremy, we billed that to the communities, we billed it to the community center fund. That should be billed directly to the town and not anything within the park.
$240 immaterial to the world, but I'll.
Well, when you've got the small amount of money the community center has, they might think that it's significant.
No problem.
So, thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, the approval of invoices.
I'll make a motion to approve the invoices.
October.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
The approval of the bank statements.
Make a motion to approve the bank statement from October.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. The approval of payroll warrants and reports.
Make a motion to approve payroll reports and warrants for 10/31/25.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, and we're ready for questions, concerns, and remarks from the audience. None? Okay. John?
In addition to the daily test of wastewater treatment, water treatment work orders locates the following was also done. Turn-offs was on the 7th, meters was read on the 9th, water samples was taken on the 2nd. We've done some sewer and camera work on East River Street, 21st and 30th. Yard waste, the 1st, 2nd, the 6th through the 8th, 13th through the 15th, 20th through the 22nd, 27th through the 29th.
Okay. Any questions for John? Okay, planning, Michael.
I was unable to attend that meeting, but I'm assuming there's nothing new.
Okay. Nothing from BZA. ADA Casey's working with me on some updates and things, so I'm guessing that'll be discussed later. Wait. I skipped the park. Sorry, Marcia. I put a check beside it that it was done.
The park board has been very concerned about the leaks in the roof, and we have gathered 3 quotes to replace the roof. We are recommending the company of Shane Pickens for an amount of replacing this metal roof of $30,450. That is without the, I believe we call it the decking, the wood decking, which could go up to, if we had to replace every piece of decking, it would be considerably more. Well, not that much more.
Not as much as I thought.
Yeah, about $7,000 more. Even with that, that is the lowest bid that we had for redoing the entire roof. And I don't know if you know, we have leaks in here, leaks in the restroom. So that is who we are recommending. I have a copy of their final bid. I also have the copies for you if you would like to look at the bids from the other 2 companies.
I passed my copies down to them.
I have a couple of copies as well.
And that actually is on the agenda a little bit later to accept a bid, so. Anything else from the park, Marcia?
That is all, unless you have any questions. And I just realized that to make a decision to place the roof tonight, we have to make a decision on the color.
I need the other 2 bids.
You can have, if she doesn't have an extra, you can have my copies.
This is Pickens.
Just because I put that on the top.
Okay, so, okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry that I skipped you. Aviation. All right, moving on. New business, we have Sawyer Smith. So Shayna, you're on. Or Sheena, I think, right?
Yeah.
Sheena, sorry.
Good evening, I'm Sheena Bitterlin. We checked for the proposals you have in front of you. That includes all lines of business for the town with the exception of the workers' compensation policy, which is on a separate effective date. We checked other markets this year and approached 4 separate companies. The renewal carrier is still our best bet. So municipalities, the municipality market right now is really difficult, particularly for smaller municipalities, for 2 reasons. One is that the property tends to be older and that poses a problem on the property side. And 2, liability. We're seeing more lawsuits and those lawsuits are paying out more. And then umbrella coverage is going up across the board because of something called reinsurance, which is essentially insurance that insurance companies have to purchase, which is a whole nother rabbit hole I'm not going to go down, but if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on that. All of our property is included under the blanket except for the old town hall building, which is now separate. Its limit was adjusted by 25% at the renewal. So the limit of that building, not the premium, the limit of that building went up by 25%. And then the rest of the blanket business, or the blanket property, which includes the buildings and the business personal property, all went up by 5% renewal.
Can I interject one?
Absolutely.
The Old Town Hall initially, please correct me if I'm wrong, was rejected. They weren't going to cover it. Nobody was going to cover it because of its age and its condition. Okay? We worked collectively to get our carrier to take it, especially because we put a new roof on it and everything. Okay. All right. So, but that could change next year.
It could.
Right. So,
Yes, and thank you so much for that, Terry, because if we had not been able to get the other carrier to approve that, that building almost certainly would have went to surplus lines, which is higher premium at worse coverages. So we will definitely be keeping an eye on that again for next year. Property tends to be softening a little bit. However, in the market, we continue to see those older buildings be difficult to write. We've had some changes in deductibles, which are pretty standard. We're seeing carriers increase their deductibles across the board, so nothing that stands out there. We do have wind hail deductibles, but those are flat deductibles at either $5,000 or $10,000, not percentage deductibles, which is preferred. So without going through everything, I know you have it all right in front of you. I don't want to read it to you. But if you do have any specific questions on any particular lines of coverage or what it actually means or how it applies to you, you are more than welcome to reach out to me at any point in time. I did want to call your attention to the third page there, Tashina Ambrose. It's kind of a coincidence that our name is literally 2 letters in difference. We are different people though. She sits right next to me. We work hand in hand. So in the event that I am ever out of the office, she'll just send you right over to me or take some notes and have me give you a call back. But both of us work collectively on your account, are very familiar with all the lines of coverage, and we'll get you to the other if it's something that the other one is going to handle. Oh, and then the overall premium increased by, it was 14.6%. So after we got our results back from our other markets, I made some calls. I checked with some other agents. I also checked both inside my agency and outside my agency on the municipality market. And generally what they're seeing is 20%. So really anything under that is considered a good renewal. And again, the other markets are reflecting that as well.
Okay, one of the things that, you know, we talked about this way past, and I know occasionally it'll come up, do we sell that Old Town Hall? Do we rent Old Town Hall? What would be your recommendation on that?
Sell it or rent it?
Could we rent it out for like business space? Would that be a possibility under our insurance clause, or would that change some things? What would that do?
It could potentially have some changes on the liability side of things, on how we rate it. But if the town still owns it, you're still going to insure it.
Okay.
So as far as, is there a big difference property-wise, which is the harder part there, more so than the liability side. Because if they had come back and said, no, we absolutely will not add the building, then I would have pushed them to include the liability so that all we had to do was write the property separately. The property is the toughest part of that. So if the town is going to sell it, it would be one less thing that you had to worry about, one less thing that you had to maintain, and it is because of the age of the building and some of the controls we have in place, though that definitely did improve, which helped us get that back onto the policy. If the town were to sell it, it might make the package easier across the board in the future. Does that make
Yeah.
Did I answer your question? As far as renting it out, I don't know that it makes a huge difference. The one thing that I would say is if we are renting it out, are we talking about, like for events? Are we talking about to other meeting places?
Anything and everything. There is a person that has mentioned to me they would like to rent it out to create like a retail space.
Okay.
Which I have on my list of things to mention to everybody tonight, because they're like, I wouldn't know until I had a chance to see it. I'm not going to show it to somebody, but at the same time, we're putting a lot of money into a building that we're not using at all. And so it's something that I think we need to discuss as a council and try to determine what we do moving forward.
Sure, and the retail would be something pretty simple, right? Pretty basic.
I think, yes, I think so.
Okay, so that would be something I would want to make sure that I confirmed with the carrier. If it was a retail space, generally that's a pretty easy class code. It's not super risky. If they're selling fireworks, I'm like, no.
Yeah,
Yeah. Manufacturing, no.
Okay.
But for a retail space, I can definitely check with the carrier to see, hey, is this going to be an issue? And then we would, of course, if we were operating out of that space, we would need to see a certificate of insurance from them.
On their part, right.
So that they have insurance in place, and we would want to see the fire damage legal liability. So if they do something negligent to burn down that building, that falls to their policy, not to yours.
Okay.
But Cindy, I'll check on that and I'll get back with you.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there's a potential at any
You'll let
point.
me know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't know that there's any reason for you to do the work if there's
Okay.
not potential there. But, yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So there's two votes. One's for the policy and the second is for the invoice.
Okay. So let's do the policy acceptance first. Oh, and then I see the invoice. I've written so many notes on here. I didn't see the invoice amount. And my first set of notes, I printed one of the early ones that you sent us to make my original notes on, and it does not have that. Okay, so do we have a motion to accept the policy?
I make a motion to accept the policy.
To be clear, it's the liability insurance for next year.
Make a motion to accept the policy for
Liability insurance.
liability insurance for 2026.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then we need a motion to accept the total on the bill. Barry, do you need this initialed or anything afterwards? Okay, the amount that we, on the invoices on the agenda. Here.
I make a motion, we approve the liability insurance from Smith, Sawyer and Smith, amount of $27,273.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? I would like to thank you for obviously being pretty diligent to get that to a reasonable amount. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, moving on.
Thank you.
If you want to leave, you don't need to stick around unless Barry has questions for you.
Well, thank you so much, and if anybody ever needs anything, please let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item of business is, we just recently had an audit, which we actually can now discuss because it should be public, right? They sent that email, it was supposed to be
Well,
published within 2 days.
yeah, it's already published.
Yeah. So, in that, I'll let Barry explain the next three items that we need to approve.
Actually, we'll start with this later.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, the State Board of Accounts in the prior couple of years of audits never came up with this stuff. This started way back, I'm talking about for Mr. Boyer. All of the wage and salary ordinances said an amount, and that includes when I took over, okay? But he was being paid less than that amount, okay? So the delta, the first two here are between 21 and 24, and the second one is for 25. In other words, he was underpaid, and if he was here, I would ask him, why did he accept that payment? But then again, the next person is me. So the bottom line is that he was paid each pay, underpaid by I'm just rounding here, $135. Okay, so when you times that times 26, and in the first line item, that's 21, 22, 23, and 24. And again, those were audits. 23 and 24 is the current, but before that was a previous audit, or two actually, and it was never came up. So, but it came up, and I agree with it, and so those are two underpayments for him. And then the third one is your clerk treasurer. Go figure, Mr. Moneyman, underpaid. It's based on, again, what the adopted and approved wage and salary ordinances say, okay? And, in my case, I don't worry about personal money, so shame on me. As I put in my email to you all, shame on me.
So do we need to do motions on each of these individually or as a total?
Please,
Okay,
each one.
okay.
I just have a couple questions. One, how does that happen that you're underpaid?
Again, the State Board of
You got a salary, so, and how do you miss it for that length of time, being shorted that much and not catch it? I think that's a lot of money to miss.
I agree. Okay, all I can say is the State Board has come up with these, they've calculated them, I've got the spreadsheets, you've got the.
Well, I'm not disputing the fact that we owe it to you, guys want to know how it happened and wasn't caught. That's my concern.
Yeah. For me or Nick?
Both.
Okay, Nick's was in place And when I took over, I didn't change it, okay? It's been that way since like you can see, before I started. In my case, once again, like when I emailed you guys, I said, shame on me, all right? I don't consider money, personal money, all that important, okay? That's all I can say. I've been blessed, let's just say that too. Alternate.
It
Don't
is.
miss $8,000 in a year though.
It's also worth noting, though, that we had an audit in that time frame, and Caitlin's comment during the exit interview was, it wasn't caught in the last audit.
Guess just want to understand, I guess. One of those things, I guess.
No, and I would agree with you. So we need a motion, and again, this is based on the recommendation of State Board of Accounts.
And Todd, for what it's worth, I know it's all going to charity anyway, so. I know it's not germane to this conversation, but I'm telling you, all right?
That's good.
All right, well, I'll make a motion that we pay Nick Boyer for 2021 through 2024 to comply with State Board of Accounts and the recommendation amount of $11,757.06.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, next one.
I also make a motion that we make payment to Nick Boyer for 2025 to comply with State Board of Accounts and the recommendation amount of $2,961.64.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then finally, Barry's.
I'll make a motion, payment to Barry Bellin for $8,235.
I should say 2023.
For 2023 to comply with SPOA recommendation of $8,235.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, and then finally, Barry is making a recommendation that we adjust the utility clerk wages for an accounting degree. Barry?
Yeah, well, first going back, and Brad, addressing to you, if you recall, I sent you the wording for the clerk treasurer. It needs to be clearer. For the special provisions of having a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, and all that.
On the wage and salary
Okay,
ordinance.
so in line with that,
I'm with you.
okay, thank you. In line with that, the utility clerk has a viable accounting degree, and I sent y'all an email of all the things that she's accomplished. I'm not gonna resell her to y'all, but it would be in the town's best interest to do that because she's in a financial issue. This would if let me rephrase this. If the town lost her, it would be a big thing. And this is not for me, okay? This is for the town. She has, and I'll just mention this one thing. Trex, the collection process, was brand new. She, with my guidance, she implemented it, and she has, we collected thousands of dollars, okay? Not only from the delinquent payers through the Trex, which is the Indiana counties, Association of Indiana Counties, but they send on our behalf a warning letter that they're going to come after you, and we got a lot of reply from them too. So we got thousands. Okay, She is very close in communication with them, and among other things, she's a valuable asset to the town. I'm talking $200 per pay.
Okay, before we can discuss this, we really do need to have a motion and a second, and then we can have a full discussion. And remember, making a motion and a second, that isn't your vote, so.
I'll make a motion that we adjust utility clerk wages for accounting degree in the amount of $200 per pay.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second, any discussion?
So we're gonna do this for all employees of town? Or is it just, I mean, going forward, so anyone with a degree gets paid more money? Because I have a couple of degrees. You have a couple of degrees.
You're not an employee,
You're an employee, you're an elected official, did you get it?
but I'm treated as an employee.
What?
I am treated as an
I get
employee.
paid as an employee of town.
longevity pay.
I get paid as an employee of the town, I got right here, check this out.
Okay, my recommendation is for the utility clerk that we have presently only, okay? If somebody else wants to make a recommendation for others, then so be it. And Brad, that would be part of that special provisions paragraph
In the new wage and salary ordinance.
Yeah, right.
I'm with you, yeah. I'm with you.
Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay.
No?
Aye.
And Cindy, you
I voted no.
voted no.
I voted no. So it does not carry. Okay. Casey, you're on.
All right, thank you. I will go through this as efficiently and quickly as possible, but I will address any comments or questions as I do it. Everybody should have a packet there that will help as I go through each one of these particular items. First off, we do have an invoice for $2,900. That's for our CC&G work. As a reminder, our work associated with that was a lump sum amount to do the design up to construction. But in addition to that, we're doing some of the compliance items like the aviating Title VI and not billing the account additional money for that. So that's why I'm rolling that into that lump sum amount. But why I'm here tonight is a couple updates. Real quick, the first item, I'm sure else, I'm gonna look at my phone and my notes, is the Griffith lateral fix update. I'm sure if you haven't heard, John can elaborate, but that fix was done for that property owner.
I'll look on the side.
Okay. I was one short.
That's okay.
Count, you think an engineer can count? So that was done, but one of the things that we just want to make sure council's aware of is that between some of the things that John witnessed in the field, some of our videos, if you look at the second sheet number 2 in your packet, basically with that being said, that project A1, priority 1A, you can see where that broken lateral was out. That's a street project we did a couple years ago. That's a clay sewer. So at some point that needs to be lined, CIPP line, and then also some of the other ones in blue we noted as well. Only reason we note that is because when we originally applied for SRF funding, and we're going to do that again in the spring for the town's direction. We noted all of those areas in purple, pink, or purple, orange, and yellow to be lined. As you can see, this was a high priority area. So if we wait to do that, and you can do that, you can wait, more than likely, you probably aren't going to have that section of street lined for at least a couple years, even if you would get funding next July, just how long it takes to go through the funding. Now, with that being said, it is fairly expensive. You can see I gave you some cost ranges in there to do that. And I know you may not have that in your sewer fund to do that, but what you may think about next spring or early next year, if you do decide to go through with the SRF project, you will more likely have to get a bond anticipation note to pay for our upfront engineering. What we can also do is work with SRF and roll some of these high priority project construction areas into that. And the only reason I say that is because some of the stuff that we saw in the field and some of the videos, that clay sewer is definitely in need of lining, and it's a high priority. So that's just a quick update. I'll address any questions. If not, I will move on to item number 2. This is just for your reference, and then when we're done, the only motion I would ask council to consider, and as well as offer input from Brad, is that you give Brad, your attorney, and then any additional help from DLC to develop a process to have a right-of-way permitting process. And why this is important is you delegate your planning and zoning to the county. They handle your building permits, your fencing permits. One of the items that's very common, Galveston's no different than any other community, one of the items that usually falls through the cracks is right-of-way permitting. So for instance, if a fiber company wants to come in here and put fiber all through the town, there's no permitting process for that. Where they're going to put the lines, how they're going to do it, is it's inspected by John before they leave town. They don't submit any plans, or if somebody has a driveway. So basically with this process, if you look at sheet number 4, and again, I'm not an attorney, this is just a sample. Brad will make this work and he'll make it, to be what it needs to be. You would need to develop an ordinance. And that ordinance would talk about what the process is. The applicant has to submit a plan. And that plan, if it's a homeowner, it could be a sketch of a driveway. But if it's a big fiber company, you want them to submit the documents to the town, to John, and then have them reviewed. If you want to have a bond, if you want them to have insurance, it would be listed in the ordinance. You don't need to decide that right now. Brad can get started on that, but the first thing is you got to develop an ordinance. If you go to sheet number 6, in the bottom red corner, the number, then there would be a sample application. So that's just an application that we've developed. We've used it in other communities. Very simple. They come into the town clerk's office, they pay their fee, they fill out the application, they submit their plans, or their plans can be emailed to John. And then there's a town letter, that are number 7. But if you go to sheet number 8 and 9, those are comments that we developed that out of all of those are almost 80 to 90% applicable to when utilities come into your community. So basically they would submit the plans, John would submit it to us, or you could use a lot of that. Those are a lot of boilerplate comments like, make sure you don't put the fiber directly over the town's water, or make sure you seed when you're done. The issue is a lot of that are usually big deals because these fiber companies, they don't have there's no process. So they come and put it in and then they leave town. So the whole idea of this is that you have a process to make sure people are doing stuff the way you need to do it. They need to do it within your road right away. The only motion would be for council to consider to ask your legal counsel to develop an ordinance that would actually memorialize that process. And I'll take any questions on that. And again, we just did this kind of within our CCNG process, so the town has not got built any additional effort from DLC for putting some of this together for you to consider. questions, thoughts for me on some of those items?
I'll need to go back to page 2.
Okay.
There is a new gas station going in, I believe, right there. And you're saying there's a broken tile there, broken lateral line? Is that where that gas station's going? Will tie into that, John?
No.
No.
BP will tie into that one? Okay.
No, this is Griffith Street.
Okay. I suppose that was easy enough.
Yeah, we like those. I like easy questions.
I will say that one of the things from the time I've come on council that John has said to me is we needed this right-of-way permitting. You know, one of the things that would happen is somebody would come in, they would hit lines. The church recently had that it had been like 3 years ago that they finally discovered that it had happened after they'd had several service things. And finding out who it was that had actually done the digging and things was a little bit complex. And if we had this, we would have known that pretty easily.
I think another good example is the corner by Tom Hayes Realty. That was NIPSCO
Yes.
that dug that up, and it's never been the same. It's been a problem since then. Hold them to responsible for leaving it where they found it.
So there on item number 2, you don't have to do it, but there in red, there's a simple motion somebody may consider. If there's not any additional comments.
I make a motion that we authorize our attorney and DLC to move forward on final documents for developing a right-of-way permitting procedure and ordinance.
I'll say.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
All right, thank you. And the third item, there are some action items here for council to consider. One of the items, the money you get from NDOT's based on your road inventory. And one of the items that commonly communities have to do is update that if those roads change over time. If you look at sheet number 10, there's a sample resolution attached, I believe. Yes, there's a sample resolution there attached that basically says that with this resolution, you are formally accepting Park Road. That's the one that was recently annexed. And there's a small section of Alford Street. So apparently maybe you've been maintaining it for years, but there's just a small gap there that it doesn't show up on the NDOT inventory. If you go to the next sheet, there's a map. Apologize, it's a little small, but you can see there in green, off to the left of the map, there's Park Street down to the corporate limits. And then there's a small section of Alford Street. And then you can see the last exhibit B, there's about a total of 1,300 linear feet. Not a lot, but definitely something you want to, if you're maintaining it, definitely want to get money from the state from. So with that, there would be 2 motions for council to consider. First one would be approved resolution upon, your attorney's review of that document and the wording. And then the second motion would approve signing and submittal of the NDOT inventory update documentation. And most of those will be signed by Cindy when we submit that. If you submit that before the end of the year, it will affect your funding for next year. And I will take any questions on that particular item.
Okay, I want to make sure that I got this. The resolution, we really want to, that's not a motion we're going to consider tonight because we don't have the final draft, right?
No, I emailed that to you and.
Oh, you did?
Right.
Right. Just this
But I
week.
got a comment.
This week. Because, yeah,
There's
go through
always,
some
you
corrections.
find mine multiple errors. I think you're a teacher.
Hey, some of those were pretty important
They were.
changes.
Maybe it's a test.
Like he changed office positions and things, so. It was
That's why in the
important.
handout, I just got red boxes. But yeah, that's the update in one per year.
I have seen this, so do you guys want to see that?
And with your meeting, you could do that at the December meeting if you were comfortable doing that tonight, as long as we could submit it, before, in December. That way give Brad more time to look at that if needed.
We kind of hit him with a lot of stuff this week. And I do remember seeing your correction.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So yeah, you can wait until December, and then we can submit it in December. That way give council and Brad time to review and concur or update those documents. And Brad, you got a copy of that in Word and Bluetooth.
Do you feel better waiting until December on that?
I would feel a little better.
I think-
Not pressing.
Because they haven't seen it either, so Barry will add the resolution there to the December
It's already there.
agenda, thank you. On the other hand, we do need to vote on approving the signing and submittal of the NDOT inventory update documentation, because John's also working on that document that he needs to submit, so I think the two kind of together is pretty important,
That's
right?
the management plan, I believe. Correct, John?
Right, but, and this wouldn't
This
actually
would
get
be
added
totally
to that
good.
until
This would-
later.
Yeah, this would be good.
Okay, all right.
Do you know our Pacer rating?
I think John. was doing that.
You have it?
Yes.
You know what it is?
On,
You have a different phase ratings for each road.
yes,
For each road?
Yes.
Do you have a list?
yes,
Is that the thing you're working on now?
yes.
Okay.
One in my handwriting.
Yeah, that little tiny thing that I couldn't read yesterday when you showed it to me.
And y'all need to vote on paying the invoice as well.
Okay. All right,
I make a motion, we approve signing and submittal of NDOT inventory update documentation.
we have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? Aye. And then back to their CCMG invoice of $2,900.
I make a motion, we pay the DLZ CCMG invoice in the amount of $2,900.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, is that it?
That's all I have, unless there's any questions for me.
And then you and I you still have some other documentation on the ADA
Yeah,
stuff that
so,
we need to finish, right?
So for December, what we'll have are two other action items for council to consider. One would be the Title VI update, and we'll get copies to council before the meeting, and then we'll get copies to Brad to review before the meeting. But it's a standard NDOT documentation that we reviewed. The issue with that is some of the documentation we have to get on the federal website, so we're hoping to have that up and running this month. And then, as Cindy said, we also want to update, you need to update your ADA plan, which we've already done that, but NDOT requires us to update that every 3 years. So we'll have that in December. It'll just be an amendment packet, but those will be in December.
Okay.
And the reason you're doing that is so you can still stay compliant with NDOT if you decide to reapply for community crossings next July. Not our rules, theirs. So that's a short version of the answer there. So,
Okay. Okay,
all right, thank you.
thank you. Be careful dragging him.
All
Yeah,
right, thank you.
Okay, and then finally, we're at the roofing estimates that Marcia stuck around for.
Hey, I apologize if I jumped the gun.
No, that's actually, that was your report, so.
I make a motion that we approve Shane Pickens Roofing to repair the community center roof
It's actually replacing, I think.
Replace, yes, in the amount of $30,450. With possibility max of 40,000 after replace additional sheeting as needed once we see how bad it is.
So we have a motion, have a
Was
second?
it higher than that? Was it, I thought I
Well, let's get a second and then we'll talk.
Okay. I'll second the motion.
Okay, now discussion.
Wasn't the amount higher? I thought I saw $50,000 price.
Did you see
No,
that?
am I imagining that?
You
Was
might
it second
have.
page?
No,
She
his,
said 40, I thought it was higher than that.
his original was the 30,400 or whatever it was. There is, you had all three in the original stack, and one of them was
You're off 3,450. I have.
Shane had done actually 3 separate estimates. He did the full roof. Marsha, I'll let you, because you talked to him.
He did a section, which didn't cover over here the other leak. He did half a roof, and he did a whole roof. The other 2 estimates are for the entire roof.
That's where I saw it.
What about the wooden? You said you might have to have the wooden.
At this point, they don't, when they tear it off, they don't know.
They don't know until they,
What?
they don't know until they see.
Tear it off.
So that is the 10,000 that Sunny added on in the motion to say up to that 40,000 amount. The 30,000 just covers the roof itself. He was not comfortable because I tried to get him to pinpoint earlier a percentage that he would have to replace. And because they've noticed several spots that we've had leaks, he would not do that. But he did send us a total that said the most that it would be. And we know some of it will have to be replaced. I mean, every person told us that this section over here has to have some replacement. So Shane ended up adding that other amount to say this is the maximum that it would be. Sunny's amount that she added in, that up to the $40,000 includes that amount. Marsha?
The day that Shane was here, now we had been here when the others were, I think. But when Shane was here, he went up on the roof and he stepped and it went down. So we know that at least that area, I mean, if he had stomped, he'd have gone through the roof. I think John was here, I'm not throwing in a bus, but John was here and saw that and went, oh.
Yeah. And you did confirm with him that if he was given this bid, he would be able
That's
to
the first
complete
question
it
I asked.
ASAP.
Yes, that was the first question I asked him today.
Because it needed done
Before winter.
a few months ago. It's just taken time to get the final things done, so. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor of? No, yeah, we do. Yeah, we have a motion and a second,
You
sorry.
have to choose colors, you said?
Somebody's
Choose a fun color?
somebody's got to choose colors.
Yeah, we did talk about colors, and I don't think, did we make a decision?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, we just talked about it.
I don't know if you'll-
So we're gonna have to make a decision pretty quick.
So.
What?
Different color.
I don't know.
That's what true.
Jeff recommended yellow. His-
Between the park board and maybe a couple of us, make that decision, and because that becomes minute. The important thing is getting it on
Right.
before we lose
Right.
part of the building and have damage to some other things. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor of awarding Shane Pickens the contract?
Aye.
Aye. And then Barry, it's up to you to figure out what fund that comes out of.
Who made the motion?
Sunny and Todd. And talking to Brad earlier today, we are going to table the amending the fuel card ordinance until December. Nick's not here, so I'm guessing we don't have an update on the flock cameras, unless you know something.
I received nothing.
Okay. Okay, so,
You want to, since it's on listed here, the fuel card, do you want to vote to table it?
yeah, let's go ahead and do that, just, so we need a motion to table the fuel card ordinance until next month.
Make a motion to table the fuel card ordinance 2016-2018 for the current vehicles.
I second the motion. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, and then Nick's not here, so. Brad, do we have an ordinance to vacate the alley?
I'm still working on it. We do, but I'm still in the process, so we can just keep it on, or if it falls off, put it back on new business, we'll be ready to go next time, so. I think you actually have seen the ordinance, so. I just need a legal description, I've been having trouble getting a legal description for the alley.
Okay.
You want to table it?
So if we table it, which is best, to table it or to let it fall off? And then just bring it back?
It makes no difference. It really doesn't.
Okay, let's do a motion to table that then.
I make a motion to table the ordinance to vacate the alley between the fire station lots and the lot to the east of the fire station.
Second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, the status of the traffic warning signage. Have you finally had a person, right?
We made phone calls, no return calls. So supervisors was down from before last week, several different occasions, looking at the bridge. And Sonny and I reached out to the individual that they said we needed to get a hold of, and still waiting on return phone calls. So I just say, if you want to get the signage, we put it up and go with it.
Okay, what does that signage need to say then? Do we know?
Depending on your ordinance, how you want to, just give me some guidance on the weight limits on the streets, and I can get them ordered.
Okay.
So, because in the ordinance, it just references the Indiana code.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Brian?
We did not look that up.
I don't have the ordinance in front of me. I think there's a axle, tandem axle, tri-axle, there's certain ways.
I can get signage, like a single axle,
Yeah.
tandem.
I just don't know what the amounts are. I know Michael had some thoughts on the weight at one point, but I can probably look them up, I could probably find some weights.
26,001 pounds and above is the CDO required.
Close for CDL.
Well, but is that how the ordinance is written?
I don't know how the ordinance.
I think it's written on, based on actual.
Yeah, I think it's based
So-
on actuals.
3 or more is
I was thinking that's what you and I had talked about, was the 3 or more.
Okay.
I can get the signage, per
Okay,
axle.
so Brad will take a look at that, gentlemen, and then where do we need them placed? I know we talked about each corner coming into town, but I still almost think there needs to be one on Maple as you're coming in off of, and does there need to be one down at Park? I don't know, how many signs do we need, where do they need to be?
Any entrance to town, I think.
But, if we try to do Park, they're already committed,
I
especially
know.
with the operation in the Howard County. We have a lot of feed trucks and hog trucks that travel this.
But I thought we
And-
said, I thought we said that agriculture was automatically exempted.
Okay.
So anything agriculture would be exempted. The problem would be the other operation that is definitely a business.
I think 4, the entrance at 35, goes north, south, and 18 east, west.
Yes.
Okay. That was what we had originally talked about, but then,
And just get it as they come in town, it should cover all the streets.
Yes.
So 4 something.
I mean, that would at least be the major ones. And if they came in on any of the side streets, because I could see some coming in off the county line. But as John said, once they would get to town, they're already committed. And it's kind of what you're running into here with this one is, you know, once they've gotten past where the state has blocked it off, or where this not blocked off, but said there's detours, that's what's causing the problem. They're going past that, and then they're invested. There's nothing else they can do. They should have taken care of it way back. Okay, so John will take care of that.
Can they just be the standard as no semi-truck signs, like no semis, or does that not need something? I don't know if our ordinance talks about weight.
I think it just references.
Yeah, I think we need to post the tonnage per axle, and I think that's what Michael was thinking.
Well, but
You
if
get
it,
over 26,000 pounds, you're gonna have at least 2 axles.
does that Indiana code? Because that is what, because I mean, Sunny said you two had talked about it, and that it just referenced the code. So if it's just, does the code mention any kind of weight?
I can look the code up, but
So we'll just have Brad get back on what he thinks it needs to say, because we want to make sure that legally it's cutting the mustard here. So, all right. And then finally, we have somewhere, I have the Misfits, oh, it's right here. Yeah, I have a little post-it. We have the contractual agreement between the town and Misfit Towing. Brad sent it probably a week ago with what his recommendations would be on doing that. Okay, Brad, I think my one question, if we pass this today, this says it terminates on December 30th, 31st of the same calendar year. Does that mean that we need to redo a contract in January?
Yeah, just change the date.
Okay.
Yeah, and I put that in my email. I said,
I was thinking I remembered that,
yeah,
but
it was October, on Sunday. I said, please note the contract will need to be renewed each year in January. So it'll be a quick turnaround for this one, and then it'll be part of the ebb and flow of renewing contracts.
So do you want the motion to say both 25 and 26, or just?
let's,
I would just wait, because I can do a new one for 26, just by changing a date or two on it, and it'll be updated essentially. And I think it has a date on it somewhere. Also don't have, yeah, I do have that in front of me.
here, let's see the 25 date.
Yeah, last paragraph, the effective date. So it says it shall terminate December 31, same calendar year, and then it talks about needing to be renewed. So it doesn't, it actually could just be renewed again with just new dates.
Okay.
Just new signatures and a new, we could call it,
You want to put that for the December meeting?
probably for December. Yeah.
So if,
But we need something now.
yeah, I know, so,
At least do one now, let's do that one.
so on that one though, shouldn't it say like from January 1st of 2026 rather than from the date we sign it? Because otherwise it terminates almost as soon as we sign it, the way this is worded.
Yeah, it does, but I just assume we sign another one.
Well, no, I know, but I'm just saying if we sign one in December,
Yeah.
it will almost immediately terminate with the way this is worded.
We've already voted, I think, to sign the contract, so I think if you guys sign the contract, it goes into effect today.
Right,
And then it's good through the 31st, we need to make sure we have it on the calendar to sign it.
all right, okay,
That's how I do it.
okay, all right. So we need a motion for the Misfits starting contract. No, do we? If we've already,
You already did it?
You think we've already done
If you wanna make it clean, you can do it again. I think we've already done it, but we might as well, we're all here, let's just do it again. But I
Okay.
think we've already authorized those.
it? Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept Misfits towing contract.
For 2025.
You want me to say 2025?
Yeah.
2025.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second, and Michael cannot vote on this one. All in favor? Aye.
That's a majority, not totally unanimous.
Okay. And then, again, at Brad's recommendation, we need to table the wage and salary ordinance until December, so we need a motion to do that.
Make a motion to table the wage and salary ordinance onto the December.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then finally, the weekend coverage for the testing at the water plant. I have sent Brad what Barry and I have talked about as far as updating the amount, or paying the overtime amounts, but got that to him a little late, and so he did not have time to get that for tonight. So, John, I apologize, but it'll need to wait just to get that finalized. I mean, I'm still not sure that I am completely clear. I think the handbook allows you to pay them, Barry, but I've given it to Brad to try to look at and clarify what we need to change to make that work. So we'll just, again, I guess, probably need a motion to table that again until December.
I make a motion to table the weekend coverage for testing at the water plants to December.
I second the motion.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Not on the agenda, but, and I mentioned it when Sheena was here, I have had a person that has mentioned that he had tried to rent some of the spaces there by Diddles, and in a conversation, it was town hall something that would work? What do you guys think about possibly renting out that space, trying to bring in some money? We've spent a small fortune on roofing and that kind of thing. So,
You still have to maintain.
right? And it's not necessarily that somebody would even be interested, but I personally think it's something that's worth exploring. You know, I have no idea what that rent looks like.
That's not the look.
I agree.
So, and I don't know that we really need a motion, if you guys will just give me the permission to take them in and let them look, and then I'll come back to you with a report. And okay, anything from the community? Hey, we at least have people this month. Last month there was nobody. So, all right, anything else from the council?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.